Catholic exorcist claims there is lack of strong Catholic exorcist claims that the lack of strong role models to blame for aggressive Satanism. The Catholic Church exorcist Francois Dermain warned that there is an increase in aggressive Satanism, quote unquote, particularly among young people due to lack of strong role models and the spike in cultural secularism. People are not believing in Christ. Now, according to some religions, an exorcist is someone who can cast out the devil or demonic entities from possessing a person. And Dermain has been an exorcist for the Archdiocese of Ancona Osimo in Italy since 1994. In an interview with Catholicism focused on news outlet Crooks Now, Dermain warned that when young people are exposed to the demonic, such as through video games that promote them themes like supernatural beings, they tend to act out violently and aggressively. He says Satanism is getting much more aggressive and also diffused, warning that the growth in secularism is a contributing factor to the rise in Satanism. He says secularization leaves a void, a sort of spiritual, ideological, and also cultural void. Young people do not have anything to satisfy their spiritual and profound needs. They're thirsting for something, and the church is not attractive anymore. He noted that youth no longer go to church looking for answers, so they are instead trying to find something somewhere else, many times in the demonic world. He says an example of this is today's modern day world. He pointed to a book published in May titled The Children's Book of Demons. Can you imagine that there's a book out called The Children's Book of Demons, which is targeting youth between the ages of 5 and 10, including images of these entities, and they even have names, magic symbols, and ways to entice them, to summon them. Satanism is not always so explicit, but it's becoming more and more so, and the publication of the book is a sign of this, he says. And according to him, getting exposed to these ideas at a young age can lead to this type of a mentality. The youth, that is, risk passing from the culture to the acts, and they can become evil themselves very easily. He also noted that this explains how a breakdown of the family structure causes youth to become vulnerable. He says education of youth, the young people, is poorer and poorer. Couples are collapsing. Children are left alone. They are destabilized and they don't have any defenses. It's not only a vague fear, it's a very concrete risk. And we must not underestimate this because violence among young people is becoming more diffused. A violent mentality is very dangerous to our society, and our society risks collapse if it continues like this, he said. And all right, I'll leave a link below for you for this. You can understand what we're getting at. I remember, I'll have to tell you a real story because it's a miracle, actually. You know that Russia, for many years, the Russian people were under communism and they could not practice their faith. They were not allowed to go to church, they were not allowed to pray, they were not even allowed to fast. In a lot of these factories, on purpose, the factory cafeteria would serve them meat on Fridays and Wednesdays in order to see who would abstain from eating meat, and they would know that they were fasting because they were Christians and they would lose their job. Things like that were going on. But also, children were not being baptized. People were not getting married in the church, and the children were not being baptized. So I asked one of the recent a Russian monk that came to Greece a couple of years back. He had a problem with his health. He had to go to some health spa, some mineral spring spas. And you know what he did? He didn't go check in. You know what he did? He had no money. You know, he was given very little money from his abbot, and he would go into the part of the sea where the water from the spa baths was emptying into the sea, and he would wash himself with that water coming out of the bath that other people had been using. I mean, that's what he was doing, and because he had a health problem, he was looking after the horse stables, and he was very, he had arthritis and nerve damage from that, in the cold and the wind, Anyway, I asked him how he became a monk, because he was very young and very, very handsome. Anyway, he said that there were 3 brothers in his family, 3 boys, and they couldn't go to sleep at night. They just could not go to sleep. They had these images of these beings coming at them to attack them, all 3 of them. As we said, they were not baptized, but they learned the Jesus prayer, the Our Father prayer, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. They learned that prayer, and they would say that, they would recite that before going to bed at night, and that's the only way they could sleep peacefully, by reciting the Lord's Prayer. And that's how they all decided to become monks and priests. One of them became a monk. The second, they told their parents this, that they decided to become monk priests. And their parents went haywire, berserk. They said, how did that happen? Well, they noticed that that's what, the Christian faith is what was protecting them. And that's what they had all discussed with each other and decided. So one of them became a monk. Another one, the parents went berserk and said, well, if you all become monks, we're never going to see any grandchildren. So the second one got married, and he's a priest with children. And the third one became a monk. Very happily so. And he's, from what I understand, I saw some of his pictures, he's making icons, and he wants to become an icon master, to make icons in churches. And that was their protection. And obviously, a lot of people in Russia still don't know what to do to become Christian, that they have to first get baptized and everything, and that's their protection. And obviously, there's a lot of people in the world today that don't even baptize their children, so you can understand what these children are going through. They're going through what these 3 young men went through, and they were baptized when they were like 18 years old, because they couldn't be baptized before that. They were still, Russia was still in the communist Soviet Union until recently, until 1990, just about then. So you can understand how very important this is, the spiritual protection, and how devastating it is not to have it. So I'll leave links below for you for this. Have a wonderful Christmas, and God bless you all. Thank you. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.